On this very special edition of New Amsterdam Radio, we have our first ever guest. I can't believe it. I'm so excited, and I'm taking you along with me on this journey on New Amsterdam Radio, and it starts right now. I gotta say, New Amsterdam Radio is brought to you in part by Anchor FM. Have you ever thought about making your own podcast? You see, when I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions. How do I record an episode? How do I get my show into all the apps people like to listen? How do I make money from my podcast? And most importantly, I don't want to deal with cables and wires and all those things. You see, the answer to every single one of these questions is pretty simple. Anchor. Anchor is the one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. And best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And you can use your phone, which is pretty awesome. Now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. So if you ever wanted to start a podcast and make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start. That's anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast. Hello, everyone. This is Flobo Voice, and you're listening to New Amsterdam Radio, the podcast for those citizens, for the city of creatives, New Amsterdam. You know, we've been doing about 42 of these episodes. We've been at this for over a year. I downloaded this app on a whim. This is an Anchor app production, and it syndicates all my other stuff. And I said, hey, man, it'd be kind of cool to go back into the podcast game, but I don't want to worry about all this extra equipment and all that. But it's been a ride, and I have a very, very special guest in this episode, Pharadja Andrews, Solomon. I remember going to high school with her back in the day when I was young and spry. Like me, is working on a bunch of projects in addition to holding down her day job, but I couldn't think of a better first guest in New Amsterdam. Now, little full disclosure. I just got to say that I typically record episodes on a little podcast recorder or my phone, if I'm being absolutely honest with you. But for this particular interview, I used my high-grade microphone that I use for when I broadcast my What's Up Flobo video series. The interview was great. I want you to listen to it. It's very, very amazing, but it's a little sensitive. I mean, you heard everything. The kids hanging out outside, there's some dog barking action, there's a occasional plane flying overhead because I live 3 miles from LAX. It's a little bit cluttered, and I was kind of embarrassed. I didn't want to release it at first, but to hear about Pharadja's story has been very inspirational. So I want you guys to bear with me as I learn how to circumnavigate this. And this is why we're doing it. It's about learning. It's about connecting with other people. I just want to say thank you for listening to this episode. Let me know what you think. And without further ado, let's go. What up? This is New Amsterdam Radio. It's your boy, Flobo Boys. I love this show. I love what it stands for because it's about building a city around creatives just like yourself, taking news and event of the day and contextualizing it and morphing it for your achievement. Today, I have a very, very, very special important guest because, can I say this? We've been friends for how long? What, 15 years? 20 years?
You can say it, 15. Don't age me. I look good for my age.
Yeah, I know, right? I gotta get that moisturized. Pharadja, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Now, I knew you as Pharadja Solomon, but that's no longer the case.
No, I'm Pharadja Andrews now.
You say that with such disdain. Yeah, I got a little married. It's cool.
A little marriage here and there. 7 years.
7 years? Really?
7 years. I have a 5-year-old.
Wow. See, I wasn't feeling old before, but now I totally feel old. 7 years.
Of course. So you have a nephew, in case you didn't know.
I do. I guess I know that now. In my head, I always feel like I'm 24, and it's gonna be that way for the rest of my life. So
I think so too. You go to the store Forever 21.
Yeah. They do it for you.
Except now they're bankrupt. So
that's me in theory. So what do you do, first of all, as your straight, your day job? Because a lot of people listen to this podcast are people that are trying to do things on the side, but they have a main pursuit. Superman had a day job,
I like that. So my day job, my career is I'm a nurse. So I work at a acute rehab center, and I also do hospice. So being in an acute rehab center means that you're basically pushing meds, which is unfortunate to say. You're pushing meds, giving them their prescriptions, their over-the-counter, their PRN, which is as needed medications. And as a hospice nurse, what I do is I comfort not only the patient in their last phases of life, I comfort their families too.
Yeah, that sounds like you invest a lot of your own energy into your work. But that begs the question: how do you find the time and space and energy for yourself after you come home from working to work on something else, something creative?
Well, I always been like a mad scientist planner, like with Post-its and stuff.
Okay.
Post-its everywhere, Post-its here, Post-its there. And now I've upgraded to a notebook. So I write down everything. I have a schedule that I really, really try to stick with. It's really hard, as you know, to stick with schedules.
True.
So being a parent, being someone with a career, being someone who's trying to do a side hustle, you need to have everything written down. Mm-hmm. Planners are very important. They're $1.99, folks. I've seen them for 99 cents. Expensive. Go to the local dollar store, Dollar Tree, Family Dollar, whatever you want to go to. They have that.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in that. In New Amsterdam, before it became strictly a podcast, right now, it was definitely a notebook brand, stationery brand. And it started off from the comedy side of things, you know, like you could sit there and have, I actually, it was a store, it was newamsterdam.com. And, the idea was, okay, there are comedians who write jokes on their phones or keep it in their head. But for me, when I write, having it tactily in my hand always made me easy to remember it. I always committed to those jokes a bit more. And that's really opened that brand up, right? That's how that works sometimes. But the show isn't about me. It's about you. So let's talk about the projects you're working on. You tried explaining to me this over Instagram audio message last week, and I had a lot of questions. Can you just share to the world what you're working on?
Okay, so what I'm working on is I do have a partner, but she wasn't available right now. So basically my brainchild is called Holistic Nursing. And what I want to do is, because I am a nurse and I do have to, of course, abide by pharmaceutical guidelines and pushing all these meds. But I also find that being a hospice nurse and a rehab nurse, that there are alternatives. There are things that you can do naturally that are actually cheaper if you look at it in the long run to help you out. So I'm working on actually being a hospice speaker, where I bring in my team, which is consisting of mostly women of color, if not women of color, women, which is like my thing, because I have to support women and women of color. Right. So I have an acupuncturist, I have a massage therapist, I have an herbalist. So they all can come together for you, or if you want one aspect of it, because a lot of my patients have acts, especially in hospice, which they don't offer because people figure, hey, you're dying. Why are we offering you a massage? Like, why are we offering you acupuncture? But you need that. That's part of your dignity. That's part of your comfort. Mm-hmm. You know, being alive and dying. You still want to be comfortable, right? Right. So I'm working on these things, and I'm working on what's called a yoni box. So a yoni box, I don't know if I could say this.
It's you can say whatever you like. It's your pleasure.
Friendly. Okay. A yoni box is basically a box that my friend makes. She makes these boxes out of handmade.
Out of handmade, like wood, or is it like cardboard? Wood. Out of wood. Okay.
She makes them, and there's a hole at the top, and it's for women. You sit on it, and there's herbs at the bottom, and it's being heated up. So these herbs are basically going into your vagina. Okay. It's basically massaging the uterus, your vagina, making it a clean atmosphere so that you don't get bacteria, so that it's refreshed. It's also good for like fertility, you know, women who are going through things like that, who are going through anti-inflammatory diseases. So my brainchild is to not only incorporate Western but Eastern medication and make it into like this beautiful beef that can work together. But the main core is women of color. people of color.
I think that's a good point, though. I really think that's a good point. A lot of times people say in business, you got to find a niche, bro. Find a niche and exploit that and leverage that. But if you're thinking about it from the creator's point of view, we are tribes and we're all moving parts, and we try to find people that will receive our message the most. I got to go back, though. Let's talk more about this Yoni box, because this is something that...
Of course. Of all the things I said,
yes, because I'm trying to figure this out structurally. Now, I mean, granted, I don't have the structure part myself, but I mean the box itself. Like, is it large enough to sit on? Are you supposed to hover on it? Is it plug in? Is it using steam? Like, what? How does it work for someone who's interested in perhaps getting a Yoni box?
Okay, so Yoni box is, you don't hover over it. Think of it like, you and I are Caribbean, right?
Yeah.
So after I gave birth, it's interesting that this is even created because our mamas knew about this a long time ago. So when I gave birth, seriously, when I gave birth, my mom was like, listen, you gotta get all those impurities out, you gotta get all that stuff out, you gotta get all those blood clots out, because Western medication teaches you colds. Caribbeans, Asians, Mediterraneans, we are very warm. We go to where it's warm, right? So with the box, it fits your rear. It's like big enough to sit on. You sit on it. It's made of wood. And the steam is something that has been boiled over, and they put it in there, and the steam rises up to your unmentionables. And what it does is it's pulling out all the impurities, all the blood clots, all those things, because it's basically steaming it up.
Yeah.
So now that it's pulling it out, all that stuff just drops into that box, the hole. It comes out of that box, well, out of you. And it comes into that box and it drops into that bucket.
Okay.
Those herbs in there with all those good stuff, it just comes out.
There's no denying that word of mouth is like one of the more effective ways of getting it across. A lot of the listeners of the show who have written the show and messaged me in the DMs, sent to my DMs, was saying that sometimes it's really hard as far as being your own owner of your business or being a partner of a business, finding the time out of your day to go out there and network. And I know networking is the most effective solution, but did you have any tips or tricks for them of how to, passively network or network in your sleep, if you will?
Passive income, passive network.
You know how it is.
My suggestion is make sure you find something that you really love. And when you do network, you have to actually speak to people that you know can help you. It sounds like you're using them, but it's not. You're going to people who you know have, even if they have 400 followers, I feel like those numbers don't really matter, because like my massage therapist, she may not have a lot of followers, but she knows a lot of people. She knows a lot of people because she's in the community. She's giving massages to people that are actually known or well known. So make sure you talk about what you love. Talk about your business.
Yeah.
Word of mouth is very important. If you want to put it on Instagram, put it on Instagram. A lot of hashtags work because then you go into people's feeds, their algorithms. That's how it works. Hashtag word of mouth is how I see is helping. People think that going into a business like a pyramid scheme or MLM is going to help them to market their business, but in actuality, it's not your business.
Oh yeah,
it's someone else's business that you're helping grow. And if you want your own, you want to leave a legacy behind for yourself, your kids, your family. Build your own business. There's other people out there that will give you money. Banks will help you. As long as you have a good pitch, they'll help you out. They might not give you a lot, but there's people out there that will invest in your company. People out there that will work with you, and all you have to do is split the finances and split the profits in half.
Yeah.
Right?
I know we're running a little on time, but I really want people to connect with you online, to follow you, to read your memes. Where can people do that if they're interested in your product or business?
So follow me at BK Girl to CA Girl, which means a lot of people think it's Black Girl to CA Girl, but it's actually Brooklyn Girl to California Girl. Black Girl is good too.
Yeah.
I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, Pharadja Andrews, Facebook.com. Follow me, ask me for tips. I always respond. People have been DMing me, asking me for tips. I don't charge for those. so that's appropriate. I have to give tips. Knowledge is free.
Okay.
Free. Knowledge is free, and so is a beating, but I don't give those out. I give knowledge.
All right, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me, Flo. Let's do this again.
I know. Thank you so much.
All right.
Always a good time speaking with other creatives, other business owners, other entrepreneurs out there. This is what the city of New Amsterdam is all about. If you haven't already, go out there and follow Pharadja Andrews at BKGirl2CAGirl. That's BKGirl, the number 2 CA Girl on all the interwebs, the social medias, what have you. Connect, say, hey, look, I heard about you in New Amsterdam Radio. You were hilarious, and let her tell you about her business and how she plans to expand. As for me, my name is Flobo Boyce. You can follow me at Twitter at Flobo Boyce, on Instagram at Flobito. The website is flobito.com. That's FLOBITO.com. The podcast is newamsterdam.com. And I actually sell t-shirts. I've mentioned that before, but just for those of you who are new to the show, check them out at flobito.threadless.com. That's flobito.threadless.com. And of course, until next time, the city is yours.